Welcome to Coach's Roundtable. I'm Head Cody. To my right, the Swami, George Abraham. To my left, the Tiger, Albert Campman. Let's go to high school football. We're in thick into the playoffs. Championship games coming up this weekend. Rushing, Jake Meinwieser of Seneca Valley, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. Luke Meckler, Pine Ridge, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns on 6 carries. Cody Wise of Monotol, 93 yards. And Noah Whiteleather of Rochester, he scored 3 touchdowns and had a 2-point conversion. Passing, Zach Rocco, North Catholic, 243 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and he ran for a score. Gabe Lawson, Seneca Valley, 161 yards, 202 total, 2 touchdowns, 1 run, 1 pass. Ben Petchke, North Allegheny, 112. Cole Spencer, Pine Ridge, 105 yards and 3 touchdown passes. And Vito Pelosi of Slippery Rock High School, 181 total yards. Receiving, Tyree Brown, North Catholic, 8 for 104. Jake Stebbins, Seneca Valley, 2 for 88. Nikai Hill Green of North Catholic, 3 for 71. And Jake Schaefer, Slippery Rock High School, 3 for 50. Volleyball state playoffs, 4A quarterfinals, North Allegheny 3, State College 1. Next up for the defending state champs, semifinals against Garnett Valley. In 3A, Knock 3, Dover nothing. Skylar Burkett, 12 kills, and the chef, Carrie Fitzpatrick, she had 18 assists and 10 service points. Next up for the Knights, the defending state champs, they're 24-0, 48 straight match wins. They take on District 10 champ Warren. That will be Tuesday at Clarion High School. That's in the semis. And in 2A, in 5 sets, Freeport defeated WPL champ North Catholic 3-2, winning the 5th set 15-12. Lauren Lampas had 16 kills. Ellie DeGitas 15. Sarah Hedich, she was hurt, and we did the game to 6-3. Player for them up front, she had 10 blocks. And Dominique Felix of North Catholic, 19 kills. This is the way Freeport started last year. They lost in the WPL championship game. This year they lost in the semis. Now they're making a move towards their 2nd straight state championship. So next up for them will be Bald Eagle. That will be at Clarion High School as we do our show here. North Catholic finishes a great season, 20-1. Boys soccer quarterfinals, Jackson Wotus scored a second-half goal to give Seneca Valley 1-0 lead over Abington, and the Raiders' defense held up for the shutout 1-0 win. Goalie Will Gallagher had 7 saves. Next up for Seneca Valley, 19-2-1, will be the semis against Radnor, and a chance for their first ever state title game. Girls soccer quarterfinals, it's one of those, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Seneca Valley lost 4-3 to Souderton on penalty kicks, just the way they won a number of games this year. The penalty kicks 2-1. The WPIAL champs finished 17-3. And in college basketball, Mars grad Robbie Carmody became the first freshman in 16 years to start for Notre Dame. He scored 11 points in their 84-67 win over Illinois Chicago. And Mars grad John Costello, a junior at Shippensburg University, he had 20 points, 11 rebounds, and was the tournament MVP in a 79-69 win over Lincoln University. Quite an accomplishment for those two kids. And we've done games with both of them. That's how good Mars was with those kids. I've seen him
play at Ship. He's really good. Now, something strange, Albert, you that soccer. Seneca beating Abington, which is Philly. Then they play Radnor, which is Philly. It just sounds strange playing Philly teams in the quarterfinals.
And Robbie scoring a lot of his points on driving to the hoop. Very, very aggressive. Really an accomplishment to be the first freshman in 16 years to start.
I had heard he was practicing as a 6th man, and I was surprised that he worked himself into the starting lineup.
I think what helped him, they went on a European tour, and he averaged almost 14 points a game there, and that gave him the nudge up to the first team.
He's their kind of player, in my mind. He just fits what they do.
And it's a very young team.
He's going to get better. He's going to get stronger. Hey, first guy in 16 years. I don't think you need to read anything else.
And for women's basketball, Slippery Rock University, Brooke Hinderleiter had 25 points in an 80-79 loss. Mackenzie Craig of Carn City High School, she had 38 points, 26 rebounds to lead BC3 to a 67-54 win over Allegheny Community College last year. She averaged 30 points and 25 rebounds a game. Not bad. And Butler grad Joel Stutz, he had 21 points in a BC3 122-81 loss to Allegheny Community College. Let's go to our power rankings as we head into championship play. In 6A, a new number 1, Pine Richland, followed by Seneca Valley, North Allegheny, and Central Catholic. Number 5 is vacated because no one else had a winning record in 6A. In 5A, it's undefeated Gateway and undefeated Penn Hills at the top. Peters Township, West Allegheny, and McKeesport. In 4A, undefeated Thomas Jefferson, South Fayette, Blackhawk, Bell Vernon, and Beaver. In 3A, undefeated Grove City, Derry, Aliquippa, North Catholic, and Beaver Falls. In 2A, Charleroi, Steel Valley, Wilmington, Freedom, and Southside Beaver. And in 1A, it's Rochester, Olsh, Jeanette, Clareton, and Monessen. 4 undefeated teams went down last week. North Allegheny, Burgettstown, Shadyside Academy, and Jeanette.
Yeah, and the one that I feel bad for is Shady Academy. They lost their quarterback, and it's so hard in high school. You depend everything on your quarterback, and he goes out. That takes your team from here down to here.
And Dino Tomlin of Shadyside Academy, Mike Tomlin's son, committed to
Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Our stories of the week, let's go with the high school football playoffs, WPIL, in the game you will see here on Armstrong 10 this week. Seneca Valley 31, North Allegheny 14. Did the game, let me tell you, it was no fluke whatsoever. It's the second week in a row the Raiders avenged a regular season loss with a playoff win. The first was 15-14 over Central Catholic. Seneca Valley had held North Allegheny to 209 total yards while putting up 394 when they first met September 28th in a 10-6 North Allegheny win. Seneca Valley only had 108 yards. But listen, in the 2 games against NA, they held them to 10 points. It's 24 points and a total of 370 yards in the 2 games. That's how good their defense is.
Yeah, the defense doesn't surprise me a bit. I thought they were one of the best in the WPL all year. Offensively, though, they always struggled. That game, their offense put up 31 points. What was the difference? Was the line of scrimmage? Or?
It was that offensive line.
Offensive line, okay.
And I want to mention those guys, starting with center Donnie Kreisberg, and the guards Drew Robertson and David Takich, and the tackles Marcus Smite and Kevin Meter. Now, Mite's 6'6", 280. Meter's a junior, 6'5", 275. Robertson is 285. I think Takich is 265, and Kreisberg, he has to start eating. He's only about 250.
Well, the Robertson kid was a dominating player the first time I saw them play.
Yeah.
Dominating defensive player.
And they dominated on the other
Hey,
side.
Mike's a basketball
Player.
I remember you talking about him last year, George.
Yeah,
I remember.
I thought, geez. And he's one of those guys, he's so wide he doesn't look as tall as he is.
And their linebacking crew, and Stebbins, the middle linebacker, and Sage Lay and Evan Smith, and the defensive backs, Ryan Christovic and Brendan Hayes, both had interceptions. And Hayes was all over the field for them. And Stebbins, he had 2 catches for 88 yards, and he looked like, Jake, look it up, Mark Bavaro or Mike Ditka or Vance McDonald, he put out 2 great stiff arms.
Well, this is one of those games that George has told me about many times, that NA come into the game living on what they've just done. Sure. And Seneca Valley thought it was the 19th Super Bowl.
It was a Super Bowl.
You know, and so George said when he used to play Seneca Valley, when George goes to Butler, he would try to tell them, listen.
Look, here's what's going to happen. Oh, yeah, okay. Halftime, we be behind so many times down there. This game is taken. It's huge for it's a big one for
and they do not win very often at North Allegheny.
No.
And quarterback Gabe Lawson, really great game, 202 total yards. He was an engineer of this team. He made some key runs, really some great passes that he threw. And the running back Jake Meinwieser, 142 yards. Listen, you're not going to bring this guy down arm tackling him.
Well, the coaching staff just had to say to them, though, we just have to play this much better.
Yeah.
It was 10-6 the first time.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like, okay, 42-0, we have to improve this much.
Yeah.
No, just play this much. You make every play that much better, we win. And that's what they did.
Yeah, you don't need them to play badly either. Not when it was 10-7 the first time. 10-6.
Next up, it'll be Saturday night, the WPL championship game at Heinz Field against Pine Richland. Pine 9-2. Pine Richland 46-16 over Mount Lebanon. The sophomore quarterback Cole Spencer had 3 touchdown passes, and running back Luke Meckler 125 yards on 6 carries. In the first game, Pine Richland won 21-7. They jumped out to 21-0 lead, pretty much shut down Seneca Valley. So the Raiders are going to have to come up with a good running game again. You're going to have 2 great offensive lines in this game, and strong running backs, and 2 of the best set of linebackers you're going to see anywhere in the WPIL.
This game will be won somewhere somebody gets the 21 first. If somebody gets the 21, they're winning the game. I'll tell you that right now, because both teams have good defenses.
And you're going to see Christophic and Codi on the right side, and you have to go against Meter and Tekic, the defensive lineman up front. There are going to be some battles up there all night long. Seneca Valley looking for its first championship game. Championship title, I should say, and Pine Richland going for its 3rd in 5 years. I aired on the radio when I said this is the first time in a long time that Seneca Valley's been in a championship game. Actually, it was 2 years ago in 4A. I just simply forgot about all these classifications.
Yeah.
No excuse. I don't usually forget that. But they played Central Catholic 2 years ago in the 4A championship game.
Yeah, and this is a close game. I mean, on paper.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not like last year. Pine Richland was great. There's no team like that this year. Like NA was just good. They were a good team. That's why it's not a major upset. And so either team can win this game.
We knew it wouldn't be.
Either team can win this game.
Yeah,
Yes.
either team.
Yes.
And what makes a rivalry great, you look at Seneca Valley, Pine Richland, NA, they're a stone's throw from one another.
Yeah,
That's
to
neat,
beat
too.
them in
Kids
their,
all know
and
one
beat them on
another.
their field too. That's impressive.
It was a very impressive win. In 3A, how about this? North Catholic led Derry 29-8 and 29-15 after 3 quarters, but Derry scored 28 unanswered points to win 36-29. The first time they played, it was 27-0 in favor of Derry. Zach Rocco, 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. North Catholic finishes 10-2. That hurts to lose a game like that.
Well, I read. I want to know more about the game. When I saw they had jumped at 27-9, I think that's the score you said, and they ran the kickoff 76 yards. Please, how many times I'm going to say this, George? We had 27-9.
Why is he back there?
Don't kick the ball back to kick a squib kick and they only scored 9 points. Let your defense stop them. That game turns around on one play, a kickoff return. Don't kick it deep.
And you know, you remind me of something with Cincinnati and Pitt playing years ago. Brian Kelly was at Cincinnati. They were undefeated.
Yes,
Pitt's up
I remember.
30-10 or 9 with like 45 seconds to go. And I'm saying, don't kick the ball. The real good kick returner
Yes,
for them.
I remember it.
He went 93 yards for a touchdown, and it turned around.
It's a mojo thing, too.
Since he won 44-30.
Yeah, it's a mojo thing.
Turned it all around. In the championship game, it will be now Derry versus Aliquippa. That will be at Heinz. Wow. And in 1A, how about Rochester? Behind 3 Noah White Leather touchdowns, they stunned undefeated Jeanette 27-0. Next up, it'll be Rochester versus Olsh. Olsh pounded Clareton 27-7 in a WPL championship game, and I say refreshing that you have 2 different teams there.
Yeah, I like hearing that too. Rochester used to be the name, and now they've come all the way back. That Derry Aliquippa game is going to be decided on Heinz Field's turf. If it's in good shape, Quips run away with it. If it's in bad shape, Derry will be into the end. Sometimes that field is really.
You know, they've resodded that field 3 times this year.
Have they
That's
really?
how it gets beat up.
That's like they're saying now the NFL is saying they're playing Monday, and the players are saying we're not playing.
I heard that.
And in 4A, it'll be Thomas Jefferson versus South Fayette in the championship game. I know a lot of people rooting for South Fayette to win a championship. Someone different once again, but boy, TJ's just there.
They've won their own,
constantly.
though, Ed. When there were
Yeah,
they
they
have.
did.
When there were 4, they won 3.
They won. Yes, they did.
Well, Thomas Jefferson on the line of scrimmage is better in this game, but see, South Fayette doesn't care about that because they're the one team that throws the ball.
Throws
over the
the ball.
field. Yes.
And in 5A and 2A, those will be semifinals games this weekend, the championships to follow. In District 9 2A semifinal, Ridgeway 15, Montauk 7. The Warriors finished 7-5. Very good year for them. And James Parente named District 9 Offensive Lineman of the Year. Quite an honor for him.
Honor.
District 10 3A semifinals, Grove City 26, Slippery Rock High School 9. It was only 13-9 in the third quarter before Grove City broke the game open.
Wonder if the weather had anything to do with that game.
It was cold. It was a cold Saturday
You know that
night.
wind, how that wind blows up, you guys say all the time?
Place.
Vito Pelosi put up a nice game. He had 181 total yards for the junior. He will be back next year. Slippery Rock's going to be very good next year. It'd be nice for us to get up there and do a game. Now, Slippery Rock High School finishes 7-4. Grove City 11-0. They take on Sharon 8-3 in the championship game Friday at Slippery Rock University.
And Grove City whooped them the first time they played, didn't they, George?
49.
That's what I thought.
They had a kid carry the ball 42 times Saturday, Sharon.
Did they?
Yeah.
The Wilson kid. Okay.
And in District 10 2A, it was Wilmington 50, Sharpsville 7, and Wilmington advances.
Did they catch Ridgeway? I think they play the Elkers next.
No, they played Chestnut.
No, that was
Chestnut
District
Ridge.
9.
Chestnut Grove.
Yeah, no,
Chestnut Ridge.
Ridgeway's District 9.
Chestnut Ridge.
Well, no,
Yeah.
they're in interdistrict in these other districts.
Yeah.
They interplay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
They've
they
always-
are.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Well, then, but
Yes,
that's
sir.
not the case, you said.
No.
Chestnut Ridge is the name that I heard.
Chestnut Ridge.
They're taking a whooping. Chestnut Ridge is taking a whooping.
I would think so.
know.
Does Farrell get
I know so.
Farrell's got
They
Ridgeway.
get Shade. I think they play Shade.
Shade has a kid that's throwing at you about 5,000 yards.
It's not going to matter to Farrell.
No, I don't think.
not going to matter
No,
to
no,
them
no,
one
no,
bit.
no.
They won't even be phased.
Farrell will score the first 7 times they touch the ball.
They'll be grabbing those
You heard me
balls
say.
out of the air and running them back.
Oh my, they put their speed there.
I talked to a guy, said he's got, because they thought they were going to play Jeanette. The team thought they were going to play.
Yeah.
And he said, Jeanette's, they're raving about this wide receiver. He said, Farrell has 4. He said, I watched Farrell play 5 times. They got 4 wide receivers better than the best Jeanette had.
I remember one game-
Well, that's why Jeanette went out. So they were raving about somebody
Yeah.
that wasn't as good as they had him built.
Well, they won last year. People have a tendency to think, well,
Yeah, you're right,
do it
George.
all the time.
You're right. It's not the same team.
No.
It's not the same
I
team.
remember one
Eagles.
year
Let's ask the Eagles.
Philly,
we
yeah.
played Farrell up at Farrell on a Saturday afternoon when I was coaching. It was, I think we won 25-20 or 21. We had 300 some yards. They had like 45. They had 5 first downs. Returned an interception for a touchdown. Picked up a fumble for a touchdown. Blocked the punt for it. You make a mistake against them, it's a touchdown.
And that's what's different about this.
defensively.
And that's what's different about this team. They don't depend on that at all. They just go up and down the field and they shut you
They
down.
have a great
This is
runner,
this is
a great
team.
receiver. I mean, D1 guys. D1.
All Division I.
Little
4 of
school
them.
that
Yes.
small.
Uh-huh.
4 D1.
Always good. College football, Pitt 52, Virginia Tech 22, 654 yards of offense for Pitt, a school record, 492 rushing, and the dynamic duo, the Crunch brothers, these guys are playing on. Darren Hall, this is unbelievable, 7 carries for 186 yards, and Quadri Ollison 16 for 235, including a school record 97-yard run. The Pitt offensive line is really doing an outstanding job. Pitt's now 6-4, 1 win away from the Coastal Division Championship and a trip to the championship game December 7th in Charlotte. Next up, they're at Wake Forest 5-5, but don't get too excited. Wake Forest knocked off number 14, North Carolina State 27-23. Pitt is favored by 4.5.
2 thoughts on that. First of all, Narduzzi is an apology for me because I've been lighting him up, saying, but he's got them playing great,
About time.
yeah, they
are
are. But I mean, they
playing,
are. But they're playing
Right.
unbelievably
Better
great. And number 2, it's like the race series in baseball. Foster gets all the raves when Virginia Tech does well. When they don't do well, it's the players aren't.
700
The players weren't lined up right.
Yeah.
The players, how about saying calling Foster
I
out?
was thinking that today. The coach for
it's
the
nice to be able to do
coach
that.
for the Eagles last year. They smartest guy ever. Philly
Peterson,
special. All of a sudden now it's the same
Players.
guys.
It's the players.
Yeah,
they're
I know a guy next to me in the press who said, well, they have a lot of injuries. I said, what team doesn't?
doesn't?
I said,
It's a good point. What team
I
doesn't?
said, this is the 4th or 5th time this year they've given up 45 or more points.
Yes.
The defense is terrible.
And I don't mind saying that. But blame Bud Foster. He gets all the credit when
When
they
they
do good,
win, no-
and the players get all the.
I mean,
but
that was my buddy used to call that old-fashioned grubbing. Well, how many yards again?
654.
You know that people only run for that?
Pitt's been playing football for 120 years. That's
Yeah.
a
the only
school
people
record.
run for that are the option teams.
Yeah.
You know that
That never
a
foul.
team that just lines up straight ahead.
And he threw for
just-
100 and some.
You know, when you sit in the press, we get a perspective, and these holes were like, whoop,
No,
like that.
They were. Nobody touching them.
And these two guys, Hall's 5'11", 225. Ollison is 6'2", 225. These guys are building. They're going to maybe go second, third round if they keep this up.
Austin's a top 5. I have a buddy who's an agent. He wants him
Speed.
badly.
Speed.
And the other, I'll tell you what. When 2 23-year-olds come out on senior day, it's pretty impressive.
I think Hall is the more powerful of the two,
Yeah.
but Ollison, but
That
he
guy's
got
a
a
lot
burst
bigger.
of speed.
How big is he?
6'2", 225.
Oh, geez.
And Hall's 5'11",
Well, there
225.
you go.
And they got a couple guys in that offensive line, Bookster and Dentino. Those guys are going to get drafted too.
No, they won't because they can't pass block. And that's what I've already wrote about.
They're going to get drafted.
Oh, maybe late. Maybe
later.
seventh
I'm not
round,
saying
seventh round.
I'm talking fourth.
Because
or
all they
fifth
can do is
round.
run block, and nobody wants a run blocker in the pros. They
That
want
is-
pass
that
blockers.
is a
Because
problem.
Pitt can't protect the passer. It's making you sick.
But the last two games, the pass protection has been better for this reason. That their play
A lot of
action
play
off
action.
the run
Yeah, a
is
lot of play
really
He
good.
threw
And
for
it gets some help.
140 or
Lot of
50.
play
What's
action
he just
passes.
throw it?
Right.
And one receiver looked like he was pretty fast to me.
Bookser is a monster. He's huge.
Yeah,
Here's funny when you say about drafting line first round. Indy got criticized for drafting Quentin Nelson in the first round. You see highlights of him. He's just crushing people.
Luck hasn't been touched in 4 games.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Three new players they drafted. And they said next year they're going for defensive players.
Hey, watch them.
They're going to really good.
Yeah.
Number 7, West Virginia, 47, TCU 10. Quarterback Will Greer, 343 yards and 3 TDs. Where do you think he's going to go? And he's about, 6'3", 215, 220. Has a cannon of an arm on him.
He's third or fourth right now as the rated quarterback coming out of the draft.
And I like Jennings and Steele.
Jennings is still 2 great receivers.
Still.
There's another. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Eddie. There's another guy that has really lost his stock as Patterson at TCU. You know, he was up there.
Yeah.
He could name his job just 2 years ago. Now I don't know if anybody wants him.
And I heard Holgerson saying that the other day. He said, they always say he doesn't get beat like that. They've beaten him twice like that.
Okay.
Next up, look out, Oklahoma State,
Yeah,
5-5 in Stillwater, 48-47 lost to Oklahoma. Did you go for 2 at the end of that game like they did?
I wouldn't. I called George already when there's a minute 3 left on the clock.
You kicked the extra point,
You
don't
kicked the extra point, no doubt.
But he doesn't
Absolutely.
kick
No
it
doubt.
for the reason you're saying.
Yes.
He doesn't kick it because he thinks they're going to come back and get you with a field goal.
Probably felt they hadn't stopped Oklahoma all day,
That's
but Oklahoma
But that's
never
why you don't
stopped
kick
Oklahoma
it.
State.
That's why you kick it, because it doesn't make a difference either way. You're not going to stop them.
Well, West Virginia favored by 5, and also
be tough.
Louisville, after taking another drubbing, the 4th time this year, they've given up over 50 points in the game. They got slaughtered by Syracuse for 54-23. They fired Bobby Petrino. They fired his son, the quarterback coach.
Son-in-law.
They fired his son-in-law, the defensive line coach. They fired his son-in-law, the linebacker coach. And what was his wife in charge of?
Yeah.
Special teams?
Yeah.
2 son-in-laws were
I
coaching
told you.
also.
No, here's what I said.
Oh,
Don't
my.
I
You didn't know
told
that.
I know one, but I know 2.
I told Elle, you would notice Petrino. But you don't notice the son-in-laws because they're married to daughters, different name. But like I said, Elle, don't they have, I thought they had some type of nepotism rules.
That is amazing. That's why he deserved to get fired then.
There are 3 of them.
And
You don't do that.
I know.
And they have to pay him every penny they owe him.
Oh, he's always in on his feet.
$12 million. They
Nobody
owe him.
lands on his
I
feet
can still
like he
see him in
does.
that neck brace after that motorcycle accident.
Yes.
It's vivid.
This week in college football, the Citadel at Alabama. Ouch. Can you call the Society for the Prevention of
that
Cruelty
shouldn't be.
to college football teams? Now, there ought to be something in there. I understand the rankings and the SEC and the schedule, but for a team like Alabama to be playing a team like the Citadel.
Especially week 11.
When it used to be polls rated, I didn't mind it. Now they don't need to
should
do
hurt.
that. You don't need to do that anymore. You
Yeah.
want a good football game now. I don't want
Right.
to play in Citadel. Somebody else is playing Tennessee Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Somebody else is playing.
And another thing, they're playing Tua. What's wrong with him?
I know.
Why would Tua get
I don't know. And when you say that, and they say, well, they play a tough schedule. Hey, so does Southern Cal. And they
They
don't
all
play any of
do.
those.
That's
So
why I
does
agree.
Michigan doesn't play teams like
Well,
that. Neither
and
does
the other
Notre
thing-
Dame.
well, no, but the other leagues have 9 games too. SEC only has 8 games.
And I'm not saying Alabama doesn't play a good schedule.
I know.
It's good, but they never
play Citadel.
if they play anyone outside of that,
No.
they play them down south. You
Kid.
never see them going to Ohio State for
No.
a game or to Michigan to a game.
No.
They've been to
been
Notre
for
Dame to a
40 years.
game.
And they like
Yeah. Yeah.
those neutrals opening game. They'll
Right.
play you.
The other big game this week, not that that's a big game, it's number 3 Notre Dame and
That's
number
a big
12
game.
Syracuse in Yankee Stadium. Notre Dame by 9.5. They're going to their hands filled with Dungy,
Yeah, they will.
Syracuse's quarterback.
But they'll score on them too, Ed.
Yeah, they'll be able
Their
to.
name will score
Syracuse.
Sunday. That over
Syracuse
65.
Syracuse gives up about 400
Yeah, they do.
plus
Yeah.
yards a game.
I
And
talked
a
to
lot
one
of
of their
the crowd.
coaches quite often. I mean, they They won that big game Friday night. They had a ton of recruits in Saturday. This game is huge for them. I mean, this puts them back in the national picture. They're like, what, 12th, 13th or something?
They're number 12 in the country.
Yeah, so this puts them top 10.
I think these two teams last played in Yankee Stadium when Ernie Davis played for the Orange.
What a great player.
How long ago
Sad
that was.
story, too.
Yeah.
Our power rankings, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan, Georgia. I have West Virginia at number 6. Washington State, I really like the quarterback, Minshew. And Oklahoma 8th because I think of all these teams, Oklahoma has the worst defense.
Oh, they do, but they're also the most dangerous. That's what I say. You know, their defense is so
let me ask
so
you,
putrid.
I got a question.
But if anybody could beat one of those teams,
you're Alabama.
Yes.
You know, Michigan could play them 100 times.
They can't score now.
Can't score.
I know.
Could Oklahoma beat them 81?
That's what I told you. That's why I think they could.
And you know these two shutouts that Alabama had back-to-back with LSU, Mississippi State, the first time ever in the history of the school they had back-to-back shutouts.
Yeah, Georgia, going back to the Oklahoma one.
Yeah.
The quarterback is the thing that gives Alabama trouble.
Did you ever see about
They
him?
struggle so
Eddie.
much with a guy who can run
And I
and
know
pass
you
and
do.
move.
Have you ever seen this guy at Oklahoma?
Murray. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
my.
a great baseball player, too.
Yeah, get draft number 1.
Oh, my.
Hey, hats off to Grove City, 42
Yes.
to 15 over Teal.
Briggsy.
Grove City 7-3.
Go, Briggsy.
Their best season since 1997. The 6-game win streak, longest in 21 years. And how about their 6 wins in the Pennsylvania Athletic Conference? It's a school record win in conference play, and they just received an ECAC bowl bid. Coach D. Donato said, and we were up there one brick at a time, he's building a house.
Well, he got about 10 bricks
got
on
building
each
it up.
wall.
Yeah, they made ECAC tournament. I saw that President's Conference.
Yes.
And ironically, we did the Westminster game. Had Westminster won it, Case lost last week, Westminster would have been the champ.
How about that?
And they lose their starting quarterback.
Yes.
And then the freshman Josh East steps in. He had 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Cody Gustafson, he caught 6 for 133 for the season, 69 for 1,059 yards and a school record 15 touchdown passes.
They can run and pass. That's what I like. They can do
that
both.
Schultz will carry the ball 30 times.
Yeah, and School's at 114. I think he finished with like 13 or 1,400 yards.
Incredible.
Just a great season for them. We want to get back up there next year to do another game. And in the PSAC championship game, Westchester 33, Slippery Rock University 10. And the championship game was the first title for the Rams since 1971. Slippery Rock took a 3-0 lead on Jake Chapla's 32-yard field goal. Westchester countered with 27 unanswered points. Listen to this. Touchdown drives of 75, 73, 65, and 62 yards. They led 33-10 at the half. That was all the scoring. Their defense shut the Rock down, holding them to just 244 total yards. Quarterback Roland Rivers, 3 interceptions, sacked 5 times, and completed just 6 out of 31.
Well, if you're gonna lose, you want to lose to a team like that. Though. You don't want to come home with 33-32.
Right.
Yeah.
This team's just better.
Yeah.
You can just tell with just what they did.
Johnny
yes.
Galante, former Butler athlete, he had the Westchester Kutztown title game in the East. Refereed it.
And the Rock still gets a bid in the
Yeah,
regional
yeah.
playoffs. They're at number 2 and undefeated Long Island Post.
So they got
That'll
the
be
7th.
Saturday at Brookville, New York. And in college women's soccer Division III, the Grove City women defeated the University of Chicago 2-1 in the first round before losing 1-0 in the second round of Center College. But what a great year! They finished 17-4-1.
Those are good soccer scores. I like seeing those kind of scores.
And the Steelers kill Atlanta 52-21. Right now, I'm saying the Steelers maybe have next to the Saints and the Chiefs one of the best offenses in the NFL.
Carolina.
Yeah, they do. They do. They have one of the best.
Carolina.
Carolina.
They do have their
They
offense.
killed it.
I still don't trust their defense. I still worry about all the
We're
shots.
secondary.
Yeah, I still
And
worry.
what should be an easy game this week in Jacksonville?
Probably won't
Never,
be.
never know.
never.
And that is it. We've run out of time. We'll see you next week.